Today we're going to start the trailing arm build for the K5. These are the arms that came with the vehicle. We had some issues with the mounting points being above the center line of the actual control arm itself, and there was basically what was happening is the shock was pushing the arm over to the side and pinching it, putting a side load. So the new arms that we're going to build are going to, these mounting points are going to be on the center line of the axis. So what we're going to do is, because these tube nuts are not that cheap, we're going to try and save them. So I'm going to use a bandsaw to cut this off, cut here, chop this side off, and put them on the lathe to turn these out. Our material that we're going to use is 2-inch quarter wall DOM. So that'll be our new arms, and along with some 1-inch, which is over here. 1-inch, 1/4-inch wall DOM, and this will be the lattice structure for the actual shock mounts. I have a pretty good design in mind, what I think is pretty good. I'm just basically off the cuff. I haven't I haven't drawn anything out because I suck at drawing. So it's in my head. I think it's a pretty good design, but I guess we'll see. I just finished removing the tube nuts. They were a little bit more difficult to get out than I originally anticipated, but they're out now and they look pretty good. So we'll reuse these things in the new link bar. And now we have to go and square up the axle to the chassis so we can start measuring for length. Tube that we're going to be using for the lower control arm. So I just need to cut the end off of it where they torched it at the steel facility, and then cut it to length, and then set up the actual the tube bender with the right die and start bending. have the 2-inch tube bent. We have the 1-inch tubes bent. We have the ends machined so they come together. So now we're just discussing on how to, should we use plate work to attach the tubes, or should we use tubes? We still need to notch this tube, obviously, and that tube to bring it down below the center line axis of the main trailing arm, main portion of the trailing arm. So originally my design was to drop this down lower, about right here, and then drill through the tube on both sides with 1/2-inch hardware, and put spacers, a little spacer on the outside on inch on center, and then for wherever the mounting the hole mounts are, bring a tube straight down into the main tube, and then have a lattice work of standoffs basically, and have it go this way as well. But you were saying that we should probably do some plate.
I just think plate would look a little bit cleaner, but
and
it'd be hard to prevent like rust, like water sitting in there, or mud, or
the yeah, that was my main concern, because I've seen some pretty sick trophy truck trailing arms that are badass, but I don't know how the hell they clean them.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know. I know
well, I've never really seen like holes in them to where they like drain holes, like at the bottom or anything. So I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I guess I'll just have to sleep on it and see what I come up with. You could think about it too.
Yeah.
So that, at least, so for now, I mean, it's gonna be, we're gonna leave it as is. 5 holes, inch on center. Maybe we'll space them out maybe 1.5 inches on center. The point of that is to get good adjustability for mounting. So the closer you get to the axis point of the swing arm, actually not swing arm, but the trailing arm, the more load it puts on the shock, right? Yeah. So the 2 shocks are already super stiff. So we can take some of that, dampen it out a little bit by bringing it closer to the axis point of the actual swing arm. So got a bunch of spacers to cut, some standoffs, and then I think we'll start mocking it up, see how it looks. I think it'll look pretty good. It's gonna be a bitch to cut this to actually match this geometry here. Not looking forward to that.
Oh, the angle?
Yeah, and this one too. That's gonna kind of suck.
Well, that one looks more. When you cut that in, it'll be more level.
Yeah, so it'll be a little more. This is a lot shallower, but we'll have to make the cut a lot longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at now. So I guess tomorrow.
So will this be over here?
So yeah, it'll drop down. I want to have it about right here, because the tube nut, or the tube nut slides in here. It'll stand off about 3/4 of an inch, and then the actual what do you call it? The heim joint will be about maybe that far away. So I don't want to shock them out. I don't want it mounted too close. So maybe it'll be like this, and then just slide in here. Or actually, no, I think I'm going to use a ballistic bushing for this. So we'll have to notch it with 2 notcher. Okay. Hopefully that's not a problem. But yeah, so that's it for today. Pretty tired. 1-inch tube. I got a basic design laid out. We bent the 2-inch tube. I notched it for a 2-inch ballistic fab bushing that I'm going to weld on there. Let's see here. So I think I have a pretty good design on where how the shock's going to mount to the tube or the control arm.
Yeah.
I was going to put 5, but I don't know if I got 5 in me.
5 different mounts?
5 different mounts for different shock locations.
Oof. Maybe 3? 3 or 4.
Maybe 3. Yeah, probably 3 because it's kind of a pain. I mean, now that I have it kind of figured out, I have all the geometries figured out. I think it'll be a little bit easier. But just to figure it out, get all the tools laid out, had to convert. I had to take apart the tube notcher because it can't handle the angle. Well, it can handle the angle. Well, no, actually, it can't handle the angle. It can't. So individually, I can notch this, but not pre-bent. So I had to do it as an assembly, which this machine can't do. So I mounted this the part of it actually to the corner of the table. Good thing this is cast because it's pretty geometrically stable.
Yeah.
I mounted to here to the end of the table. Then I use this this side. I don't know what you call it, side plate, but it's a angle plate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cast iron angle plate. So I mounted it here. Actually cut really well, and that's what I used to notch this portion of the tube. It's pretty good. I just have to do some adjustments on it, but it's pretty much where I want it. I'm gonna fill it with. What I'm probably gonna do is MIG weld it inside here. Just kind of fill it up, get it nice and solid, I guess you'd say, with material. Put material heavy here. So the shock here will be mounted. This is the furthest point from the center that the mount will be, and then we'll do maybe one here and one here. That's what I'll probably do. But I don't want to get the shock I don't want the shock to be too close to this tube here. I believe it's a 2-inch radius from the inside shock eye to the outside of the shock, I guess you call it, body. Mm-hmm. So the other thing I have to do is I have to put one of these spacers on the outside here because the bolt is actually going to go through the whole thing. So yeah, I need to mount one. Basically, take one of these, put it here as well, so it'll be about right from here to here on both sides. It's hard to do these little tiny parts because this tube notcher.
It's hard to hold it.
It's hard to hold it. Yeah, it's not designed to be held by that, so it's kind of a pain. More of a pain than I thought.
Yeah.
So it's worth it, but
just challenging.
It's challenging, but that's why we do what we do, because it's challenging, right? If it was easy, wouldn't be doing it. If it was easy, I'd just slap some freaking rectangle tubing on here and call it good.
Yeah.
But kind of what they did on theirs. By the way, that shit was not even both of those control arms were different. So I don't know if they're for two different model vehicles or what, but he had one on one side. It was shorter and a different design.
Almost. Oh, really?
Yeah. The back is different, so I don't know what the hell. So I think. What do you think? Do you think it looks good?
I think it looks good.
Is that what you were thinking, or of how it's gonna turn out?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What you would do if you were gonna do the not plate, but the
tube. Yeah,
tube, like weld tubes down here.
Mm-hmm.
But
so this is still below the center line of the axis of the actual link of the control arm itself, or I keep calling it control arm.
So how long is it?
It's 4 feet. It's actually longer than it needs to be. Trailing arm, not control arm. Control arms go in the front of the vehicle. So it's 4 feet.
About 4 feet?
Yeah, about 4 feet. So, which we don't need to be 4 feet. So I just did it a little longer just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was gonna say that's a long arm.
Yeah. I think I think I'm gonna stay with this design. I'll just have to make a bunch of these by figuring out the angles so that they're parallel with each other. was kind of a pain. I had to make, where's that thing I had?
How'd you keep it like straight?
What the hell did I do with that tool? I made a tool.
Oh, okay.
It's like Thanksgiving dinner. It takes you all day to make it and 5 minutes to eat it.
Yeah.
Right? This is all about prep, and so here we go. So what I started with was this 1/2 inch piece of aluminum.
Pin?
This pin, yeah. So what I did was I slid it here and I slid it in this one, and I used this to align the two. And then that kept it relatively close. And then I kind of mocked it up. The angles are off just a hair. It's like a degree off. So it's like a degree off. So what I need to do is I need to change the angle from 30 to maybe 31.5. And that'll make it it'll be money. So for the second arm, it should be a little bit faster, just because I know what the hell I'm doing. So that's how I got them parallel to each other. And now I have to. What I also have to do, if you look here, so the actual mount is going to intersect the top tube a little bit. So I need to take an end mill. Oh shit, I don't think I'll be able to use it. But yeah, maybe I'll use an end mill. So I'll take one of these and I'll weld it to this, and then I'll just end mill it through straight to the end, and then so it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I had to get it high enough to where it wouldn't actually interfere with the with these two tubes here. So what I need you to do next is I need you to pull the shock off the truck, and then so we can mock it up to make sure that
it'll fit,
articulates. You know, the shock itself has spacers, so it should have no problem
fitting,
and there should be no interference when you're stuffing one tire versus the other, or having one droop all the way out. But I figured out a lot. So what I want to do is I want to do the other tube before I get too far ahead on this one, because I don't want to forget
what you did,
what I did, or all the measurements in my head. I know by the end of the week I'll probably already forget, but I know that these are 2.1 inches long, 1/8 inches long, it's 37 degrees. I know that the distance between here and here is 1.5 inches. I know that I need to adjust this a degree and a half down a little bit. I know that was 30 degrees, and that was like 4 degrees. So, but as the week goes on, I guarantee you I'm going to forget.
Yeah, you could just watch the video again, though.
Exactly. I'm going to go back and watch the video. Yeah, so actually, that's a good idea. But yeah, so I think I got a pretty good idea what I'm going to do. It'll be pretty sick when it's done. All right, that's it.